Acquiring a business? BizNexus simplifies it. Access thousands of updated opportunities in our DIY marketplace or supercharge team sourcing with OmniSource, your all-in-one platform for on-market, off-market, and coming-soon deals. Scale smarter today. Learn more or book a demo at www.biznexus.com.
Disclaimer from the always present legal team. Podcast conversations don't necessarily reflect the views of BizNexus Incorporated. Everything you hear is informational news and updates from around the industry. We're not recommending any investments. We're not offering any investment advice. Be sure to do your own homework.
All right, so let's dive into something that I think could really change the game for our listeners out there. AI's potential to just completely disrupt private equity, especially in the lower middle market. You sent over a really interesting mix of stuff, threads, visual breakdowns, even a case study, actually, from restructuring. These dives into this complex financial maneuver called a double-dip Pari Passu. It's a lot to unpack, but I think we can pull out some really valuable insights from it.
Yeah, and what's really exciting about all this is that, this isn't some far-off science fiction scenario. This is happening right now. And it really has the potential to impact every private equity firm out there, big or small.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the heart of all of this is this concept of an AI agent. It's almost like having this brilliant analyst living inside your computer. You can just analyze massive amounts of data, generate reports, potentially even interact with clients.
Yeah, it's like giving every firm access to a team of, superpowered analysts working 24/7, and that has huge implications for how deals are sourced, analyzed, and executed.
Totally. And, one thing that really jumped out at me from these sources is the surprising advantage that smaller firms, especially in the lower middle market, might have when it comes to actually adopting this technology. You'd think the big players, with their deep pockets, they'd be leading the charge, right?
Yeah, you would think that, but the reality is a bit more nuanced than that. Larger firms often face significant hurdles when it comes to implementing new technology, particularly anything involving AI. I mean, think about all the compliance and data privacy regulations they have to navigate.
Yeah, for sure. One source even mentioned how some large funds are practically forbidden from using those big public AI models because of the risk of sensitive information being exposed.
Exactly, and that's where the lower middle market could have a real edge. Smaller firms are inherently more agile, more adaptable. They can implement new solutions quickly. And they're often more willing to work with developers to create custom AI tools that meet their specific needs and data security requirements.
So while the big firms are kind of stuck in these committee meetings, debating all the risks, the smaller firms are out there actually using AI to get ahead.
Precisely. And that speed of implementation can be a significant competitive advantage, especially when you consider that many large firms have these massive internal analysis committees that can really slow down the adoption of any new tech.
Yeah, 100%. And one source even went so far as to say that these AI agents could be a license to print money for the right firm, especially in the lower middle market. But it's not just about cost cutting, though, right?
Right. The real value of AI in private equity, especially for those in the lower middle market, goes far beyond just automating tax and saving a few bucks. It's about enhancing the quality of analysis, freeing up human capital for more strategic thinking, and ultimately making better investment decisions.
And speaking of complex analysis, I think we need to talk about that Trincio case study. From the restructuring publication, even the title Trincio, a double-dip Pari Passu case study, sounds incredibly complex.
Oh, it is complex, but it beautifully illustrates the kind of intricate financial maneuvering that's common in the world of private equity. A double-dip Pari Passu involves layering different types of debt with varying levels of risk and priority during a restructuring. Imagine trying to unravel all of that manually.
It makes my head spin just thinking about it. But an AI could potentially handle that kind of analysis, right?
Absolutely. An AI could process vast amounts of data, identify patterns, and potentially uncover solutions that human analysts might miss. And that's just one example.
So if AI can tackle something as complex as a double-dip Pari Passu, imagine what it could do with more routine tasks.
Yeah, that's where the real potential lies. Imagine an AI that can decipher handwritten notes from due diligence meetings, summarize lengthy financial documents in seconds, or even compare different versions of a contract and highlight the key changes.
That would free up so much time for junior associates to focus on more strategic work, wouldn't it?
Exactly. And that's just the beginning. The sources we're looking at suggest a two-stage development process for these AI agents. The first stage focuses on creating a baseline version that can handle those standardized tasks, things like data entry, document review, basic analysis.
Okay, so kind of like laying the foundation, but what about stage 2? What happens then?
Stage 2 is where things get really interesting. That's when the AI starts learning from each firm's unique IP. And when we say IP, we're not just talking about patents or trademarks. We're talking about the collective knowledge, experience, and insights that make your firm unique, that give you an edge in the market.
So it's like the AI is absorbing the secret sauce of your firm.
Precisely. And as it learns, it becomes more and more specialized, more capable of replicating the work of a seasoned associate, but with the speed and efficiency of a computer.
That's powerful, especially for a firm in the lower middle market, looking to compete with the big players. But it also raises some questions about the future of those junior associate roles, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and that's something we'll definitely need to explore further in this deep dive. But before we get into that, I think it's worth taking a closer look at some of those specific time-saving features that these AI agents could offer, because some of them are pretty impressive, even for someone like me who's been in this industry for a while.
Okay, so we've covered how AI could give firms in the lower middle market a real leg up, especially when it comes to that stage 2 development where the AI starts to learn a firm's unique IP. Now let's dig into some of the specific ways this tech could actually save time and boost productivity. I was reading through the source material, and some of these features sound almost too good to be true.
I know, right? It's mind-blowing to think about how much time we could save. If we could just hand off certain tasks to an AI, let's start with something basic like document summarization. Imagine being able to feed a 100-page private placement memorandum into an AI, and in seconds, have a concise summary that highlights the key investment terms, risks, and opportunities.
Oh, that would be a game changer, especially for busy deal makers who are constantly bombarded with information. No more late nights spent poring over endless pages of legalese. But could an AI really grasp the nuances of complex financial documents?
Well, that's where the learning aspect comes in. Remember, we talked about how these AI agents would be trained on each firm's unique data and expertise. That means they'd be able to understand the specific terminology, deal structures, and investment criteria that are relevant to your firm. They'd essentially become an extension of your team's collective intelligence.
So it's not just a generic summarization tool. It's tailored to your firm's unique way of doing business. That makes a lot of sense. What other time-saving features stood out to you?
Well, one that really caught my eye was handwriting decipherment. Think about all those handwritten notes we take during meetings, site visits, due diligence sessions. Trying to decipher those scribbles later on can be a real headache.
Oh, tell me about it. My handwriting is so bad, even I can barely read it sometimes. So an AI could actually translate those chicken scratches into legible text.
That's the idea. And not just translate, but also potentially organize, categorize, and even integrate those notes into other systems. Imagine having an AI that can automatically extract action items from your meeting notes and add them to your task management system.
Okay, now that would be seriously impressive. And I bet it could do wonders for version control, too. I can't tell you how many times I've wasted hours trying to track down the latest version of a document or figure out what changes were made.
I know exactly what you mean. But with an AI agent, you could potentially have a system that automatically tracks every change made to a document, highlights the differences between versions, and even alerts you when someone else is editing a file you're working on.
That would eliminate so much confusion and wasted effort. And speaking of wasted effort, what about PowerPoint presentations? I swear building pitch decks and investment memos takes up a huge chunk of my time.
That's a common pain point in the industry. But imagine having an AI that can take your raw data, financial models, and talking points, and automatically generate a polished presentation with charts, graphs, and even speaker notes.
Now that would be a true game changer. Suddenly, those late nights spent agonizing over font sizes and slide transitions become a thing of the past. But wouldn't there be a risk that those AI-generated presentations would all look the same? Kind of cookie cutter.
That's a valid concern, but remember, we're talking about AI systems that are trained on your firm's unique data and brand guidelines. They would learn to create presentations that reflect your firm's style and messaging.
So it's not just about automation, it's about personalization too. That's pretty amazing. But all this talk about AI taking over tasks, it does make you wonder, what's going to happen to all the junior associates if machines could do so much of their work? Yeah, it's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If AI could do all this stuff, what does that mean for the, humans who currently do it? Are junior associates about to go the way of the dodo?
Well, that's a very real concern, and one that we need to address, thoughtfully. But I don't think it's necessarily a doom and gloom scenario. I mean, remember, technology has always disrupted the workforce. The invention of the spreadsheet didn't eliminate the need for accountants, it just changed the nature of their work, right?
So are you saying that, like, instead of replacing junior associates, AI will simply kind of reshape their roles?
Exactly. I think we'll see a shift from purely transactional tasks to more analytical and strategic thinking. Instead of spending hours, building spreadsheets or proofreading documents, junior associates will be able to focus on interpreting data, identifying trends, and developing investment recommendations.
So it's less about number crunching and more about insight generation.
Precisely. And that requires a different skill set. We're talking about things like critical thinking, problem solving, and the ability to communicate complex information in a clear and concise way.
It sounds like the rise of AI might actually elevate the role of the junior associate, pushing them to develop higher-level skills.
That's a great way to look at it, and it highlights the importance of continuous learning and adaptability. Those who are willing to embrace new technologies and develop the skills that AI can't replicate will be the ones who thrive in this new landscape.
So what advice would you give to a junior associate who's maybe feeling a little anxious about all of this?
I'd say don't panic. Embrace the change. View AI as a tool that can augment your abilities, not replace them. Focus on developing those uniquely human skills that we talked about. Critical thinking, creativity, communication.
And be proactive. Don't wait for the technology to come to you. Seek out opportunities to learn about it, experiment with it, and figure out how it can enhance your work.
Absolutely. And remember, this isn't just about individual success. It's about the future of the private equity industry as a whole. By embracing AI thoughtfully and responsibly, we can create a more efficient, more insightful, and ultimately more successful industry for everyone.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI and private equity. It's a complex and rapidly evolving landscape, but one that's full of potential. For you, our listener, the key takeaway of this: AI is coming and is going to change the game. The question is, are you going to be a player or a spectator?
Thinking of exiting your business or taking on a private equity partner to help you grow faster? BizNexus has you covered. Tap into our network of thousands of best-fit investors, acquirers, and proven M&A advisors, and we'll help you begin the relationship confidentially on your terms, your timeline. Learn more at biznexus.com.